Ikki Tousen, also known as Battle Vexens. This is an anime that I don't hear too many people talk about, or at least people that I know. But I do remember that when I first watched this show, I watched it I think in the year 2009. In fact, the show kind of interested me in a way because it actually has a very interesting setting of things, which is something that you don't see too often, so I wanted to check it out. And without dilly-dallying, let's just get into the plot right away. In Japan, there are 7 high schools that are in a turf war for supremacy, and all the fighters from these schools have a jewel called Megatama. Yeah, before I knew what this stone was called, I used to call it the Teardrop Stone. Well anyways, what this stone does is that it indicates that they are descendant warriors from the Three Kingdom era. And the main character, Hakufu, is a descendant of Sensa, and she gets transferred to the school Nanyo Academy, and that's where her cousin Kyokin is at. Yeah, I know I butchered that name for sure. Well, anyway, she wants to take over every single school within the territory. And that's where I'm going to end things with the plot for now, and all I have to say is that, yeah, this is the reason why I did thought it was interesting, because it takes something like the Three Kingdom era and then makes it into something completely different. But unfortunately, that's probably the nicest thing I can say. Because to be quite honest with you, the show kinda blows. Now one thing I do have to address right here and now is that the show is really heavily based around fan service. And I have to say is that fan service is not really like a terrible thing. In fact, actually, there are some shows and games that I played that have a lot of fan service in it, but it can actually be funny. But the thing with this is that it's just not funny, really. It seems like that they're trying really hard to show off as much fan service as possible without, like, any other backup to it. So I guess you could also say that this is going to be one of those shows that you can't really take it too seriously. But I find that the plot that they do have with it is pretty serious, and yet it's not really all that serious at the same time, so therefore it just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And it's a shame because, like I said, it is a great concept, but it's just not really done that well. And you get some characters too, obviously, and well, I think they're all pretty bland and forgettable. Yeah, I always have a hard time remembering most of the characters' names because, like I said, I just don't really care for them that much. So anyways, let's move on to the animation. And it looks alright. I mean, it doesn't look terrible, and it doesn't look amazing either. It's just kind of like in the middle every day. But I don't really have any huge complaints about it, so I'm just gonna leave it there. Now as for the voice acting, oh man, it's not that good. Yeah, a lot of the characters and the voices come off to be really annoying. However, the only positive thing about it is that there are some good voice cast in here, but not too many of them, and not only that, but not all of them do a good job at what they do here. But I'll only name the ones that did like the best that they could. So there's Wendy Lee, Stephanie Stay, Liam O'Brien, Patrick Sates, Michael McConaughey, and finally there's Hunter Mackenzie Austin. And I think those are the ones that did the best job that they could. Now I didn't mention Sam Burgell, and yeah, he's a good voice actor like I mentioned in another video that I've already done. But sadly, he didn't really do a good job portraying the character that he did. Then again, the character isn't even all that great of a character to begin with. So yeah, for the most part the voice acting just isn't really all that good, but it does have like some little good moments, but not a whole lot to save it. And here's the moment you've all been waiting for, is the score. And yeah, I'm sure you guys know that this one's gonna be pretty low, and yeah, I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 10. Yeah, when I first watched the show back then, I really didn't like it that much, and then I had to rewatch it for this feature, and well, I obviously still don't even like it all that much. And it's a shame because, like I said, it does have a good concept, it just didn't do it right. And I guess the only way you can really enjoy this show is if you had to turn your brain off, but even then, there is a lot of other animes that are kind of like this, and the whole, like, you know, a lot of fan service and a lot of stupid shit, and that are actually, you know, funny. But yeah, with this, I just didn't really laugh that much. In fact, it's funny how it says it's an action comedy, and yet, well, it has the action part right, but as for the comedy, well, yeah, it's not really funny for me. And believe it or not, this show was popular enough to get like its own like special other episodes and even a movie. So I guess it does have its fans, but for me, I'm definitely not a fan of this. So my last words for this anime is going to be, Ikki Tousen is just very icky.